tonight. I am starting late. Oh, hold on. Tonight because I'm trying something new. So I am um, trying to do this without the baby in the room. Because I know last week he woke up, and probably the time before that too, he woke up and I just want to make sure the sound was okay. So the last time he woke up and one of my subscribers suggested, taking him out of the room, which I was thinking about that too. So I did, but of course I got him to sleep, then tried to move him, and then by the time I tried to move him, he woke up. So I was like, okay, maybe he'll go back to sleep. No, he did not. So then I had to feed him after I got dressed. So that is why I'm late. I was going to be on time. I was on time. It's just like, I just feel like he can just tell when I'm about to go on here or something, or even when I'm about to record a regular video, and he just is like, no, he wants to be held right now, which is okay for some videos. Like, I don't mind holding him, but for other ones, I'm like, no, I need to put you down so I can talk without having to entertain him at the same time. Okay, so it looks good over here. Okay. I just want to make sure the chat is up because last time it was not, and then I had to start it and stop it and then restart it. But I think it's fine for tonight. So if you're missing baby Asa, I have placed him in a room with the other kids, so hopefully they don't wake him up. He is asleep right now, so hopefully he stays asleep, and whenever he wakes up, that's probably when I'll stop or whatever. But okay. Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Taishima, and tonight we're going to be talking about a couple of things. So I am a doula. I'm a mom of four. And on this channel, on Shades of Sage, we talk all things childbirth, motherhood, breastfeeding, postpartum, all the good stuff concerning moms, parenting, dads even. So that's what this channel is about. Yeah, and I got these questions from a subscriber, Esther. If you're watching, I got she asked a couple of questions about the husband stitch and placenta. So what hospitals do with placentas after birth, and then I thought I'd talk a little bit about childbirth. And I don't know. I guess we'll see where the conversation takes us and how far we get into it, because I definitely want to do another live where I like walk through all of my births or kind of detail all my births. Like I said, I do have my birth stories on this channel if you're interested in watching them. And so I have, each child has their own birth story. But I kind of want to just like discuss it live, that way just in case anyone has questions, because I have VBAC births VBAC births, so I want to talk about that specifically. So that's vaginal birth after cesarean, and I've had cesarean births also as well. So I just kind of want to talk about them, and kind of navigate, like why I had my C-sections, how I was able to have my VBAC births. And I also did that without an epidural. So I also want to do a video, and I'm not sure if it'll be in that or if it'll be in another video, about how to give birth without an epidural. So those are just some of the lives that I have coming up. So if you're into that, if you're interested, just stay tuned. But for those who are here tonight watching, thank you for joining the live. Don't forget, I had the chat box here. So if you have any questions, if you want to stop me along the way, you definitely can. So we're going to be talking first about, we're going to talk first about the husband stitch. And when I saw this, I kind of laughed to myself because it's not really something that gets talked about a lot. It's funny because my vaginal tearing video on this channel is like my most viewed video. I get a lot of views on that video. I get a lot of questions and comments on that video. So if you have not seen it, check it out. So like I said, I've had 2 vaginal births. Both of them were after my cesarean. So my first birth was a cesarean, was a C-section, and then I had 2 vaginal births after that. I did tear for both of those births. So I did have to be stitched up. And I think a lot of women experience vaginal tearing. I'm not saying every mom who gives birth vaginally will experience it, but a lot of women do experience it, but it's not one of those things that gets talked about a lot. So there's a lot of fear concerning vaginal tearing, and I just kind of want to talk about that a little bit tonight. Um, and like I said, I do have that video. I have another video. I forget what the name of the other video is called. Maybe like how to ease discomfort after vaginal tearing. Maybe I will link both of them in the description box after, this video is up, after I end the live, because it's great informational videos, especially since the young lady who did ask me, plans on having children in the future but doesn't yet. And I think a lot of times, especially for women who haven't had kids yet but they want, to have children in the future, there's a lot of things concerning childbirth that is like taught as fear among childbirth. And yes, of course, there's a lot of scary things that can happen, but a lot of things do happen, and it's, I don't want to say normal, but it just comes with the territory. So the more, I always say on this channel, the more you know ahead of time, the better off you'll be. So, like I said, two vaginal births, 2 tears. Now, there are degrees of tearing. So there's first degree, which is really superficial. It really doesn't involve too much of the internal muscles of the vagina. Also, before we get started, before I go any further, we are going to be saying words for the female anatomy. So if you get queasy or that's not your thing, then maybe this is not the video for you. But this is a motherhood channel, and we do talk about childbirth, and talking about the vagina is part of it. So yes, with vaginal tearing, with the first degree, it's very superficial. Like, you don't really even need stitches. If you do need stitches, it's like 1 or 2 for that. For me, I tore second degree both times. So that includes, the external and a little bit of the internal muscle. So that does need to be stitched up. It does need to be repaired, but it's not as bad as like a 3rd degree and a 4th degree. And 4th degree is the worst kind of tear you can get. That goes all the way internally, and a lot of times for that tear, for that form of tearing, usually an instrument was used, so like forceps or a vacuum, and usually that does need like reconstructive surgery. So that's not something that would just be stitched up like right there. Like for me, for my vaginal tears, it was stitched up right there as a part of like the afterbirth process. That's something that you would actually have to be like under for and be repaired. So that is a really, really, really bad tear, really severe. But in most cases, it doesn't happen. Like, it's not something that's like super common. So I don't want you to worry about that. So as far as the husband stitch goes, though, some providers, and this is kind of an archaic thing, it doesn't happen too much anymore, I want to say, but then again, this is one of those things about childbirth that's kind of hard to prove unless you're having like really, really, really bad after effects from it. And, another OBGYN besides the one who did your original one is able to look and see, yeah, maybe you had an extra stitch, more than you needed for that repair, for that tear that you did experience. Now, for me, I didn't count the stitches. I remember trying to count like the second time. The first time I was out of it. So that one didn't really bother me. I also want to say the first time, so like I said, I have both of my vaginal births without an epidural. So when they did tell me I tore, that's kind of when I started freaking out, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I know I had to be sewn up, and now it's going to hurt. Like, I didn't freak out like visibly maybe, but in my mind, I definitely was freaking out. But that doctor gave me a, like lidocaine. In that area, so I did not feel the stitches, so that was amazing. It was fantastic, and I had my baby on me by that point, so I really, once the adrenaline is there and the baby's out, you feel like on cloud 9. So I felt amazing. For my 3rd birth, it was really, really fast. The whole labor, birth, and everything was really fast, and I did tear, and I think that's one of the reasons why I tore, is because it was so fast. But I did not get lidocaine for that one. And I think maybe that was a miscommunication, because of course on my birth plan I had, no medications, no pain. Don't even offer me pain medications, anything like that. So I think for that was maybe one of the reasons why. I honestly didn't find this out until just recently. When I went back at my chart, I went into, my chart for at the hospital that I gave birth, and I read, just like all of my procedures and everything like that, because I do like to know that. And I saw that lidocaine was not listed. So I was like, that's why I felt everything. I literally felt every single stitch for that 3rd birth. It was probably worse than the pushing itself. It wasn't like terrible. It does feel like a prick, but because, I did need more than one, more than two stitches, I did try to count. I think I count. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I got to 20. I kind of lost count after a while. And I remember the doctor saying, I'm almost done. I'm almost done. I'm almost done. And I'm looking at her like, yeah, but it hurt though. so, so, um, so yeah, I did get stitched up for both of them. And I think for the husband stitch, well, the mindset behind it is that when a woman gives birth vaginally, and there are some men and women that think this way as well. When a woman gives birth vaginally, that she loses her tightness, and so if she does tear, or if she had an episiotomy or whatever, then when they stitch you up, they'll give you one or two or three extra stitches to make it tighter again. And it's just like, why? Now, this did used to be, as far as my research, when I did research, it did seem like it was an habitual thing. Like, that's just something that they did when they sewed up women. And like I said, now the rules of gynecology have changed, or I guess I should say the suggestions. And of course, you do have some OBs that are practicing that have been in the practice for a really long time. So not all of them are up to speed, or all of them are taking on the new suggestions and stuff, or guidelines. But currently, as it stands now, episiotomies are not commonplace. So if a baby is too big, or like, it has to be like a really, really rare case where they'll actually cut you. I know when my mom when my mom gave birth, that was a routine thing. Like, when she was giving birth to us, that was just a routine thing. If the baby got stuck, if the baby's head was too big, whatever, that was the first thing that they were going to do. They were going to cut you. So that's what an episiotomy is. But nowadays, they found out that women heal better, they heal quicker, they heal faster, and more sufficiently if they tear naturally. So that's usually the route that doctors take. And like I said, not all of them will, though. So if you do have a vaginal tear, or if you do have an episiotomy, you will require being sewn up if you have a 2nd degree, 3rd degree, or 4th degree tear. Usually for the 1st degrees, they usually let them heal on their own, or you'll need maybe 1 or maybe 2. But like I said, it's kind of hard to prove that that you did get that extra stitch. So I read some stories of moms that said that they were sure that they got it because afterwards, so after birth, if you did tear, that area has to heal up. So for me, I had dissolvable stitches, and like I said, it was 2nd degree, so it wasn't too far into the perineum. So vaginal tearing is the area between the perineum and the vagina. So that middle part in between, no, the area between the vagina and the anus. So that's what the perineum is. So when you do tear, it usually tears backwards. At least it did for me. For some women, it can tear forward. So like up into the lip area. And so, again, that requires stitches. But the husband stitch itself is problematic because the tightness of the vagina doesn't depend on childbirth, if that makes sense. It really depends on your pelvic floor muscles, and if they're strong and if they're weak. That will determine the tightness of it. So if you get a husband stitch, or more stitches than you need, and like I said, if it's towards your anus or towards your butt, then that can cause problems with defecating and things like that. So it definitely has happened to some women. And if a woman is having problems, so say like after childbirth, after that area has healed and the stitches have dissolved. Hi, Salah, is that the name? Hi, thank you for joining the live tonight. So if that area has healed completely and the stitches are completely dissolved, and you're still having, so say you're having problems, going to the bathroom, or maybe you're having problems with just your comfort level of going to the bathroom. Is this right? Then you may want to get that checked out by the OB. And when you get an exam, they usually do, or if you have a problem with this and you think that you've had a husband stitch, they'll do a vaginal exam, and then they could tell you there, if you have, like, sometimes when things heal down there, you can have I'm doing well tonight. How are you? Yeah, sometimes when things heal down there, you can get like uneven healing. Sometimes I've heard, and I don't know exactly the term, but there's something that happens kind of I want to say kind of like keloids, where you would need that part to be, or the scar tissue will build up so much that it's blocking certain areas or it's in the way and it's not healing properly or not healing smoothly. So you could run into issues with that. And there's something that they can do where they can manually go in and take an instrument and kind of like smooth that area out. So it's not like an actual surgery all over again, but I feel like the phone is falling. But it will help to make that scar tissue smoother. Um, so yeah, it's it is something that happens if you ask like older moms or moms who gave birth in different generations. So maybe like our moms, for example, or our grandmoms, they may tell you that maybe, yeah, they feel like they were stitched up too tight. And after the area heals, it's kind of hard to like get reconstructive, work done on it. But if it's really, really causing a problem in your everyday life, especially like I said, as far as going to the bathroom, like number two, then I would get that looked at just to make sure that everything is okay, and that that's not the issue. But it's really sad that people do this kind of things to women bodies, and a lot of time, like I said, it's something that you can't prove because it's not like they tell you. It's not like or whatever. It's just something that they think they should do, or some doctors are just like, or some providers, and it doesn't even have to be just men providers. Some women providers do this as well. So it's really sad that people think that they should do that, or that's okay. And that's one of those things in the childbirth world where it's like things are done where people don't ask consent. Like for everything you get done, consent should be given and it should be asked, and then you can okay it or not okay it. So your phone, maybe that's what you're trying to say. but but yeah, it does happen. But I want to say, as far as I know, not so much anymore. So hopefully, if you do give birth and you do end up tearing, hopefully your doctor, your provider will only give you the stitches that you need to heal. And if you're really, really, really worried about it, I will put that in your birth plan, and you can talk to your provider before you give birth, because while you're going through birth, and of course, like right after, there's so many things sometimes that are done. That you kind of don't even think about, or people may be asking you questions and you may be okay in certain things and you're just out of it kind of a little bit. And so that's really where your support people are, like so key, because they can help you either keep track of the things that you wanted originally for your birth, or they can voice those things for you when you may not be able to voice them yourself. So yeah, it's a thing that happens. It's a thing that happened way more than it happens now. I hope and pray. I don't think that I had one done. I feel like my repairs were really, really good, and I trusted my providers, the ones that did do or deliver those two babies. Well, all of them were excellent, actually. They all were really great. Um, no, I'm actually answering some motherhood questions if you have any of those. Um, so yeah, and also, like I said, the misconception that the vagina loses elasticity or whatever after childbirth, like that's not, it's not true. So so it's really unnecessary anyway in the first place. So yeah, that's all about the husband stitch. I hope I answered that question for you, Esther, if you're watching now or you're watching on the replay. What else do we have here? Placentas. Oh yeah, so the next question was, what does the hospital do with placentas after birth? And this is a very, very, very good question. I feel like my phone keeps falling, or at least it's not at the angle I want it to be. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can just, I think the notebook I have it on is making it slide down. Okay. I don't know if that's better or not. Um, Um, well, if you have any questions, you can ask me in the chat right now about, motherhood, that kind of thing. But about the placentas are, well, they say, and I searched some websites, and of course they probably tell you that in the hospital when you sign your papers too, because I think you do have to sign off on what you want to do with your placenta after birth. But they say that it's, it's waste, and that they, what's the word, discard of it. You know, like it's a biohazard, and they discard of it. That's what the list says. I mean, that's what the hospital sites say as far as what they do with them. There are a couple of things that you can do though with your placenta after birth. So some women keep their placentas to eat them. So like they keep them so that they can be dehydrated, and then usually I think they make it into a pill form or a powder, and then they add that to, you know, their food, or they take the pill for however long, however many pills that the placenta made. And I, excuse me, I do want to talk about that a little bit, because I know that that's it's kind of a hot thing now to eat your placenta, and the thought behind it is that the placenta has nutrients in it, or that it has like iron and things like that that new moms may need after birth to replenish themselves. And there are other mammals that eat their placenta after birth, so like dogs, I think lions, you know, some other mammals, but not us. Not us, and I don't recommend it. I remember one lady was telling me that, you know, she wanted to eat hers, and I was telling her why she shouldn't, or why I wouldn't suggest it. And she kind of went back and forth with me about it, but let's just start off with what the placenta is. Now, the placenta is an organ that your body grows specifically for childbirth. So it's not an organ that a woman's body is born with. It makes itself in your body when you are pregnant. So so it's something that you grow, but it is like the lifeline between mom and baby. It provides the nutrients for baby. It provides good blood flow and oxygenation for baby. And you know, if you have a good functioning placenta, you're usually okay. Some problems can arise if your placenta is not functioning correctly, if it detached the wrong way, if it attached the wrong way in the uterus, and if it's just like not as big as it needs to be. You can have some issues with that. So placenta is a really, really, really good organ for you and for baby as well. But it also is a filtering organ. So really, it's a waste. It's a waste organ, in my opinion. It filters like toxins through what mom eats, or maybe harmful things that mom may ingest or eat or drink, so that it doesn't come in contact with the baby. Now, some things do cross the placenta barrier between mom and baby, and that's why you do need to be careful what you eat and what you drink when you're pregnant. But other things that are harmful and not as bad, the placenta will kind of catch them. So to me, the placenta is a waste organ. It filters things. It's like the liver, if you ask me. It's like the liver for your baby. And no, I really don't recommend eating it. I don't recommend like eating it, making pills out of it, ingesting it, or anything like that after birth. But as I stated in my last video, I did keep my placentas for 2 births. So I kept them for Kenzo, I kept it for Asa, and I really do wish to this day that I had kept Sayas and Matthias's. And the reason why is because I don't know what the hospital does with them. I know what they say they do with them, but we have a history of being lied to, especially as Black people. And sometimes I did read also that some hospitals or some places keep the placentas for a certain amount of time for, I think they said, research. So you really don't know what they're doing with your placenta. And to me, it's like, you know, I grew this. This was my connection between me and my baby, and I wanted to keep it. And I don't know what they're going to do with this. So, like, if they use it for research, who's the research benefiting? Is it benefiting us? Is it benefiting, you know, children in need, or, you know, higher class up people who will have money, who can afford to buy extra or pay for extra things as far as like stem cell research and stuff like that? So no, I wanted to keep mine, and like I said in that video, I do plan on planting mine, and making either like a tree, or what's the other thing, an aloe vera plant, something with this, so that I can keep it and it can continue to grow. And you know, I feel like it's really sentimental and symbolic. So I want to keep, that's what I want to do with mine. That's why I kept mine. And another thing you can do with it is you can have it frozen. So you can, keep the placenta and have it frozen so that you do have those stem cells for your baby. And some women, some moms, some families do that as well. It's just really, really, really expensive, but you can do it. Even if you don't want to keep the whole entire thing, they can keep a little bit of it for you. Let's extract some of the stem cells and keep it for you. And the hopes with that is that if your child ever has like an incurable disease, or if they ever have something that they need like a, I don't know, like a new organ for, or something like that, like they will be able to go to those stem cells and readily, have some kind of a cure, some kind of a thing that works just for them because it's part of their body. So like I said, we really don't know. And that one part about them keeping it for a certain amount of time, like it was real ambiguous what I read. So we don't know. So that's why I kept mine. But there's supposed to be things that are like burned, so like discarded as waste, and they put them in a what is it, biohazard bag. Like when, if you do plan on taking it home, you have to bring a cooler, and keep it on ice. And usually, so like at one of my births, they're like, take it out of the room immediately. And for another birth, they really didn't even mind. Like they knew I wanted to have it, and they wrapped it up for me and everything. And I think the nurse even put it on ice, and then it just stayed in the room with me until I was ready to be discharged, until I went home. So it really just depends, on what you want to do with it. But I wasn't giving them any more things out of my body. Like then I had enough, I feel like. So I wanted to take that home with me in addition to my baby. So that is what I did. If you're really, really worried about it, I suggest you do the same thing, that you keep your placentas, and then at that point you discard of it how you will. If you want, you can incinerate it. Like I thought about doing that too, and just having like a kind of a, not a bonfire kind of thing, but just like just stand around and watch it, turn into ashes, and then keeping the ashes. I thought about that. So I'm still kind of thinking about what I want to do, but I think for the most part I want to plant it, or bury it. Even you can bury it like in your backyard or wherever. So yeah, so I think that when it comes to placentas, when it comes to, I don't know, just our, I don't know, like I don't know, because I don't know what they do with them. I don't know, and it doesn't really make it clear. And like I said, when you go to the hospital and you're signing up all that paperwork, when you're giving birth, and even before, because I know for me, we had to fill out this whole long like labor form. There's a lot of things, a lot of rights and things that you sign away, or a lot of things that you agree to. So definitely make sure when you're doing your paperwork that you're taking your time and you're reading things, as well as you can, or as thoroughly as you can, so that you know what's happening with your body, with your baby, and with any waste, or the procedures and things that they have in line. So I think that's it about placentas. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to say um, about placentas. I thought there was something else. Oh, and for the lady actually that wanted to eat hers. So I told her what I thought, and she was basically trying to explain to me that it was okay, because I think she thought I was saying like, don't eat it because if you do drugs, or if you drink, or if you smoke, you could be ingesting those things. And that's not what I was saying to her. I was just saying that anything harmful that could come in contact with you, the placenta is going to filter out so that it doesn't come in contact with the baby. And I said, not all things, but some things. And I guess she was saying because she was healthy and she was young and she was fit, that wasn't an issue for her. And, to each their own. If that's what you want to do, if you still want to, ingest it, or take it back in, that's up to you. But what ended up happening is the lady so hers was kind of weird. Like usually if a woman, or if someone is doing your placenta, they're like in the birthing room with you, or in the place where you're giving birth, if you're at your home, or if you're at a birthing center, and they're the ones who will prepare the placenta, or make it however you wanted to make it, so dehydrate it or whatever the case may be. But she was sending hers to someone, so she had to ship it to that person, and then the person was going to work on it, do whatever she wanted, and then ship it back. But this was like at the beginning of COVID, and the lady actually had COVID when she shipped it to her. So she shipped it to her, the mom that wanted to keep her placenta, shipped it to the other lady, but the lady had COVID, and she was like, I can't even work on it, and I don't even recommend giving it back to you because it's already been in my hands, and I tested positive for COVID. So she never got to eat the placenta, and I don't know, I just feel like that was just God protecting her. Like, honestly, I feel like that because I was trying to get this woman not to eat it, and she was just, she was going to eat it anyway, and then she ended up not being able to eat it. Now, I do hope that she still was able to keep her placenta and do maybe something else with it. Like, you can do artwork with your placenta. There's a lot of things that you can do with your placenta. But for the hospital to keep it, for me, that's not what I wanted. Once I knew about it, so with Saya and Matthias, I didn't really know about the placenta. I mean, I knew about the placenta, but I didn't know that was an option that you could take it home and keep it. But I just really wish I had known. I would have kept theirs also as well. So that's I think it for the husband stitch and for the placentas. If you ladies are watching on the replay and if there's something that I didn't mention or if I didn't answer the question, all the way, then definitely leave me a comment in the comments of this video. I'm so confused. In the comments of this video, and then I can hopefully answer any additional questions there. So about childbirth, I don't know if I want to, let's see where we're at. We're at 30 minutes here. I don't know how much I want to get into it about the childbirth. I didn't write anything down, so I was just trying to think off of the top of my head here. And like I said, I do want to do my birth stories and post about, and do my birth stories and do basically remind women of their rights as a birthing person, as a mom, and just let them know that you can deny any procedure and anything that may be suggested to you. Like, don't feel like you have to get it done just because the doctor is saying it. Like, sometimes they'll come in the room and they'll say something as if that's exactly what's going to be done. Like, they'll say it. They're not asking you, they're telling you. But I just want women to know that no, they work for you and not the other way around. You don't work for them. You're paying them to do a service for you. So always remember that when you're in labor. I know it's harder to do in actual labor. It's way harder to do when you're in pain and sometimes you're just like, I don't care. I just want this baby out of me. So whatever you got to do it, So that's why I say it's really, really good to write a birth plan. I am a big fan or a big proponent of the birth plan. Now, some women are like, you never know what's going to happen, and don't be so dead set on your birth plan. So yes, definitely don't be like, if such and such doesn't happen, that's going to ruin your whole birthing experience. So don't be so closed-minded when it comes to your birth plan. Try to be open-minded, but definitely write down why you're sane and why you're not in this overwhelming physical amount of pain. Write down the things that you want done, and write down the things you don't want done. And I do have a birth plan video on this channel, and it's really extensive. So it's a long video, but I went over my whole entire birth plan for my last birth, and for all of my children, I wrote a birth plan. And for the most part, I want to say they were followed to the T. With my third birth, they were followed almost 100%. And that was my best birth that I ever had. It was incredible, amazing. If you want to see, you can check out my birth stories on this channel. But yeah, definitely write it down while you're in a calm frame of mind, so that you can have it. And like I said, if you know you support people ahead of time, which I recommend also as well, or the people that you want to be in the room when you deliver, make sure they read over it. If they have questions, they can ask you. If you have a doula, that's even better, because we're trained specifically for childbirth. We're not trained for the doctor or the nurses or whatever. We're there with you from as early as we can get you in your pregnancy and throughout your whole entire pregnancy and throughout your whole entire birth. And for me, even postpartum, because I know some doulas only do the childbirth, but postpartum also. So out of everyone, especially if you're going to an OB like group like I did, you don't have that same OB every single time. Now, if you have a midwife that you're working with, usually a birthing center, if you're giving birth at home, usually or for the most part, you will have that one person that follows you the whole pregnancy, which I feel like is such a great bonus because I cannot tell you how many times I went to appointments and doctors are asking me the same question over and over and over again. Like, it's so annoying. It's so annoying. I mean, for me personally, I hate having to repeat myself. So to have a doctor ask me a question and I'm like, my notes and my charts right there, just read the stuff. Like, it just, and I know they're seeing a lot of patients, I know that, but that doesn't matter. I don't care. Like, read my stuff and don't ask me questions that you could have just read off of my chart. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes I would come in, and like I said, I had the same OB practice so for all of my births. It's the only practice I went to as far as, for female care. So any there shouldn't have been so many questions, I feel like. Sometimes I would come in and they're like, oh, you want a VBAC? And I'm like, yes, this is my chart. I told y'all that day one. Like, you know what I mean? Like, certain things like that. That would make me really annoyed. Or I remember for one pregnancy, I had, for my first pregnancy, I had preeclampsia. So for all of my next pregnancies, they wanted me to take, what is it, Motrin? Advil? Aspirin. Baby aspirin. So they all recommended that I take baby aspirin because it's supposed to lower your chances of getting preeclampsia again. Now, I had preeclampsia with my first, and it was brought on very suddenly. I ended up delivering at 33 weeks. So for my next birth, that was like the first thing they said when I found out I was pregnant and I went for my first prenatal appointment. That was the first thing. And then every single prenatal appointment after that, they asked me, are you taking it? Excuse me. They asked me, are you taking it? This is why I recommend you take it, this, that, and another. And they were really trying to push it on me. And I was just like, I had to get to one point where I was like, don't even ask me no more. I said, no, I'm not going to take it. I weighed out the risks and the cons and all that in my head and, with my support people. And it's just not something I want to do. So please don't mention it again. And I had to say that because it was just annoying me. Every time I came in, they were asking me if I was taking it, had I been taking it. And I was like, no, y'all not going to stress me out about this. So and all that to say, I didn't have preeclampsia with any of my other children. So just know your rights as a patient. You're the patient, they're providing you a service. It's not the other way around. So if you feel like not okay with something, or if you feel like something needs to be explained more to you, or if you feel like, no, this doesn't make sense, so what are our other options here? Definitely make sure that your voice is heard. And I know some women are not as outspoken, or they don't like confrontation, so they don't like going back and forth with people and things like that. And you can have your support person do that for you if you feel comfortable giving them that power to be your voice. But just try to, I guess I would say, or I would advise, try to kind of get used to it, because once your baby gets here, they're defenseless. So they need you to be their voice. And it kind of does start during pregnancy, and even way before that, you know what I mean? But it kind of does start during pregnancy, because there will be some things that you may not agree with for the health of you and your baby. And you really gotta learn how to stand your ground on those certain things where you just feel like, no, this is wrong, or where you just have this gut feeling that if I do this, this is going to happen. Or if I maybe you're experiencing some really, really excruciating pain somewhere, and every time you go into your OB or your midwife, you're telling them about it, and they're telling you it's normal. That's what happens with pregnancy. It happens to all women. Don't worry about it. No, you stay on them until somebody gives specialized care to you, and you can really figure out the root of the problem. Yes, some things are normal for pregnant women. So like lower back pain, that's pretty normal. I'm still experiencing lower back pain, and I'm 8 months postpartum. So, and mine, of course, is caused by just having, so many babies in a short amount of time, and not really giving my body the time it needs to rest and heal. So, that's part of it too. But if you're experiencing, so it's like shooting pain somewhere, or you feel decreased fetal movement, I talk about that on here too, because that's a thing that's very, very real. Because when your baby is in your stomach, one of the best ways to know if baby's okay is feeling fetal movement. So like once it starts, and that's around you know, the second trimester. And it really depends on a woman. The more kids you have, you'll probably feel movement earlier just because you know what to look for. But you should be feeling frequent and regular movement by the end of the second trimester and the third trimester. And again, it kind of does depend where your placenta attaches as well, because I know for my Asa, no, yes, I think so. I'm getting a little confused. For Asa, his placenta was in front, so his placenta was in the front of my stomach. So it did take me some time to feel his movements, just because, you know, the placenta was in the way. But once you start feeling movements, and once you can track it, that should be the usual pattern and frequency also as well. So, you know, if you're doing your kick counts and you're feeling less kicks, or it's taking you too long to get to, you know, like your 10 counts for the day, or you just feel less movement and you feel anxious about it, or you feel worried about it, you know, definitely go get it checked out. Like, trust your intuition when it comes to pregnancy. Trust it when it comes to birth. And all the days thereafter, once your baby is here, trust it, because like, it can tell you so much. It's just your body's way of letting you know something's wrong. And sometimes if you don't act on it, or if you just try to ignore it, it creates bigger problems. So yeah, so I definitely wanted to say, if you are pregnant, or if you plan on being pregnant one day, just know your rights. Know that you can always decline anything that may be standard procedure, anything that may be suggested. The way you give birth, the position that you give birth in, and that's why I'm definitely gonna do another video about like childbirth positions, laboring positions. Let me know if you want to see like a actual like positions video, because I'm gonna do a live talking about it. But let me know if you want to see like actual positions, because I did plan on doing one with my sister while I was still pregnant, but as you can see, that didn't happen. Those last few weeks just kind of went by, like they just flew by for me. And there was like so many more things that I had planned as far as videos go. As far as like here at home, I did everything that I wanted to do before he was born, so I was so happy about that. But yeah, I did plan on doing some videos about, you know, laboring positions and positions for delivery while I was pregnant, just, you know, because I was pregnant at the time. So yeah, let me know if you want to see that. And there was one other thing I wanted to mention. Okay. Definitely like this video if you are watching. If you are watching the replay, definitely like this video, because it helps, you know, YouTube to know what videos to push out to who. So other moms who are watching, who maybe have not discovered this channel yet, other breastfeeding moms, of course, as well. Yes, I think that's all for tonight, I think. And I think those were the only two questions that I did have. I'm trying to go back in my mind and see. I feel like they were. And the baby is still asleep, so that's a win for me. Okay. Yes, I think that's all for tonight. So for those who are watching, thank you so much for watching. Next week, I definitely plan on going live next week, but I'm not sure what the topic will be. So I'm going to, maybe I'll make a community poll, and you guys and you all can vote on what you would like to see as the topic for next week. It's probably either, like I said, going to be about my birth stories, about, the stages of childbirth. That's really important, because, you know, just watching movies, they have this, like, when a woman's water breaks, they, oh, it's okay, Yana. I was talking about the husband stitch, placentas, so, like, you know, what to do with placentas after birth and all of that, and a little bit about childbirth, kind of loosely there. But yeah, when women, or in the movies and TV shows and stuff, they just show it as, you know, woman gets contractions and a baby comes shortly after, and that is so not the case at all, especially not for a first time mom. Like, you looking to be in labor for a long time. I think they said the average time for a first time mom is 24 hours. And that sounds about right. For my clients, well, actually, my clients, no, that's right. That sounds, it's like I said, it's a general. So yeah, it's at least for the most part 24 hours from start to finish. So like when you feel that first contraction all the way until baby's born, and placenta is delivered. So a lot of things that need to happen in between that time. And there's different stages of birth. So there's first, second, and third stage of birth, and active labor. So I just want to talk about all of that stuff on here because it's something that if you're pregnant, you're going to have to go through all of those stages if you're giving birth vaginally. And then if you are having a C-section, there's other things that you should know also as well. So yeah, I'm going to talk about that. So those will probably be the topics to choose from. It's going to be my birth stories, the stages of labor, and and how to give birth without an epidural. Those will probably be the three. Hello, Sincerely Sandy. Thanks for joining the live. I actually was about to wrap up, ladies, but if you have anything that you want to add or ask or whatever, you can. And maybe we can keep going if you would like, because the baby's still sleeping, so I do got a little bit more time. I don't hear him at least. So hopefully everyone is asleep. That would be amazing because I'm trying to finish watching a movie, and I would like to watch that alone. So yeah, so those will be the topics that I'll probably do the community posts on. If you are subscribed to this channel, like they don't give notifications for community posts, but if you want to see what I'm posting, you can go to, where do you go? Shades of Sage, and then when you go to the actual page, it's probably like the one after playlist. Like you just gotta slide it over. If you're on a phone, just slide it over. Nate, you were just recommended. Oh, and I also thank you so much. I definitely appreciate all of my subscribers. So thank you for subscribing and watching these videos. I appreciate it. Yeah, I do post a lot of cool things in my community posts. Sometimes there are links to videos. If I've just done a video or posted one, I put links there just in case, because YouTube does not always notify you sometimes, even when you have the bell icon on. So yeah, so I do post the videos there just in case so you don't miss them. But I also post some other things too about like, childbirth or breastfeeding, things like that. So yes, definitely check that out in your free time if you have some time. I'm going to try to go live a little bit more like during the week with the kids and just show like our homeschooling routine and some of the really fun, cool crafts we've done. I've done a couple of them here on this channel, but I do want to do some more and definitely some more cooking ones. So yes, I think that's all for tonight. I'm gonna I'm gonna see if the baby will stay asleep so I can finish this movie I really, really, really want to watch. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Is this my favorite color? It's close. I'm gonna say yeah. This is my favorite color. It's so funny because I asked the kids and they know my favorite color. They know how to say it right and everything. But yeah, and I'm trying to buy some more of this color too because I love it. It's just so bright. And I was just looking, like, I have a lot of black because I love to wear black. Don't get me wrong. But I'm like, I need some more colors up in here. So yes, I think that's all for tonight, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching. Thank you so much for watching. Yes, me too, girl, because he is a mess. It's like when I turn this camera on, he's like, oh, I'm up, I'm ready. And I'm like, no, you're not. But yes, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video. Oh, and check out my sister's channel. Her name is in the chat here, Tiana Hicks. And she has microlocks. She has singing. She's a really great singer. So if you like hearing some really, really, really good singing, definitely check her out. She's a cosmetologist, so she does hair. She does locks. She does my locks for me. And I just had a retwist maybe like 2 weeks ago. But I love it. I love when it gets like really, really full. And what's the other thing you do, Yana? Oh, she teaches. Duh. She's an elementary school teacher. So yes, definitely check out her channel. And support over there as well. And like I said, thank you for watching. And I'll see you next week. Or in my next video. Or the next time you watch this channel. Alright. Hope you have a good night. Hope you have a good weekend. And stay safe. Bye.